Come on down to the Wheel of Fortune. Now, I was thinking about jumping on the treadmill this morning. Not really. I was like, man, I don't even get on a treadmill. I used to do stairs in the morning fasted, but the point is I was like, man, I'm jumping on the hamster wheel of life. And here I go. Look at me go. Now, it's crazy because, I was talking with someone yesterday, and he was like, yeah, man, like, we're playing this game and getting points. He's like, I call it like dollars points. And I was like, yeah, like Chuck E. Cheese tickets. You put a coin in the machine and you try to get some, win the game or whatever and get some tickets and cash them in for something else. It's like, does that make sense? If y'all have ever been to Chuck E. Cheese, or parents take your kids to Chuck E. Cheese, you probably know what I'm talking about. You're spending money. Yeah, you're playing a game. It's fun or whatever, but then like you kind of get in this cycle of like trying to get enough tickets to win or like this prize, Anyways, it's kind of a similar idea, I was thinking this morning, I was like, cashing in my life. Like, okay, I have today going forward. Nobody knows when they're gonna, transcend, die, whatever word you want to use, it's like, how do you want to spend the rest of your life? These are the decisions we have to make about the time that we have, and how do you want to spend it, right? It's like, how did you spend your day? You are cashing in your days. Straight. I mean, that's people use that term all the time. How do you spend your time? You're spending your time. It's crazy when you think about it like that. And so we're spending our time in the to get these tickets, these dollars. And I started thinking about it too, like, what's important in life? We come in life with nothing, we leave with nothing. Some desire this, some desire family, some desire material stuff, some want experiences, and to each his own. That's great. But it really is it's really important to understand what you want to do. And like I've mentioned before, like, I'm kind of at a point where I really don't know what I want to do. Like, I'm not just gonna up and leave or do anything, like that. I'm gonna still continue to go to my job, get a paycheck. I'm able to save a little bit of extra money on the side, basically save some money, put some back, cover my bills, live, and really ponder on how do I want to spend my life. Because like, it's almost like if someone gave you like a $10 bill or $1 or something like that, and was like, all right, this is all you're getting, spend it wisely. This is it. This is all you're getting. I mean, like my grandpa passed away last summer. I mentioned before, my two brothers passed away, and then my grandmother did a couple years later, and then my grandpa did last year. And it kind of like was a refresher when my grandpa did, because I remember I had a very similar experience with my older brother. He was first out of my brothers, that like the same, like a refresher of the thoughts and the, like, life isn't serious. Like, you don't got to take life serious, but at the same time, you got to understand that this is it. So, like, someone could say it's serious, and then, I don't want to, like, make it sound like, oh, everybody should be running around with anxiety because this is, and this is it, and freak people out. Just like not take it serious, and have fun, but understand that, like, I don't know if, I can't speak for everyone. It just seems like, if everybody knew, like, hey, this was it, like, do you think that we would all be just, doing the same thing every day? And then, people are like, oh, it's Monday, and then they're like, oh, thank God it's Friday, and it's like, dang, man, like, I don't say that. Maybe I think it, I don't know, but I mean, it's like, I know what I'm doing. I'm going to my job and getting money to, like, save, and then getting my little tickets, and then trying to figure out what the heck I'm gonna do. It's basically a means to an end, not saying I don't find enjoyment in, like, the people I talk with at work, like relationships, or talking with the suppliers that we order stuff from, and that kind of deal, and just like some of the tasks, because if you, like, have, like, a challenging situation, it's good to, like, have, like, oh, I like, work towards, like, resolving it. You're like, yeah, and it could be a headache, but it's like you feel accomplished. But other than that, it's like, and maybe I need to find another hobby or something, I've been so, like, wrapped up in trying to make money, these tickets, that, basically, I mean, who knows, could be pointless here in the next few years, next couple decades, who knows? It's like, and that kind of brings up another question. Say for people that have kids, they work, and, do they, it's like you want the best for your kids, so you, like, kind of sacrifice yourself for your kids, in a way. You sacrifice your free time, you sacrifice just resources, time, money, your energy, there's a cost loss, as I think the business term is called, if I'm not mistaken. But basically, the things that you're losing out on what you could be doing instead of these other things. I'm not saying don't have kids. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that there's trade-offs. There's always going to be pros and cons, or trade-offs of anything. And, like, I was thinking about it, that having kids, I don't have kids, but I see people and I watch friends and hear what they're doing, and just realize that, like, kids, cost money. And then, that's the life. That's their life. So anything that they, they're like, oh, I want my kids to grow up and have goals and do all this stuff. And then, is that not what your parents wanted? Your parents wanted you to chase your dreams. Is this your dreams? This going back and forth to work? Is that your dream? That's what you want for your kids, is the same thing your parents wanted for you. So, you know, like when does the kid say, I'm gonna live up to I'm gonna live, honor my dreams and goals, and when my parents sacrificed, I'm really gonna like honor them, and I'm gonna take advantage of this situation. But yet we're still doing the same thing here. Most people. Now I get, like, some people say, oh, my parents moved here when I was a kid, to have a better life in America. Or, like my mom's side came here whenever, well, my mom's like dad's side came here whenever, like, basically probably I want to say like 1870s or something like that. They came in on a boat in the Gulf of Mexico. That's where the Czechs came into Texas. Where my mom's dad's side's full Czech. That's their there's lineage that they traced back to. I mean, it's only like 150 years. It's not like it's like 300 years where it's probably a little harder and stuff like that. But anyways, yeah, so they came in on a boat. All right, cool. They were farmers when they got here. And granted, like, now we have different living situation and stuff like that. But you get what I'm saying. It's like, okay, people have kids now, and then they say, oh, I'm gonna give everything to my kid that I didn't get, and I want them to be the best person, and then they, it's like, is that not what your parents wanted too for you? And then here we are. And it's like, yeah, some people probably doing pretty good in the game, of Monopoly or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, they maybe got a house and, a 401k or a retirement account, or, a brokerage account or something, or maybe little investments here or there, It's like, are we really living up to life? Like, I guess that's subjective. Like, some people maybe just want to, like, sit back and drink a beer and fish, or some people may want to, go out to eat all the time, and that kind of, I don't know. But, I guess what I'm saying is the people that, we're sacrificed, those people that are saying, I want the best for my kid, they're sacrificing their resources. So, which, it is basically like kind of hindering up to maybe their grandest goals and dreams. But hey, if your goal is to just work and go home and take care of your kids, and that's your dream, hey, that's great. Maybe it is a simple things for some. And I'm not saying I need to live some extravagant, crazy life where I'm like traveling and all this stuff. I mean, that's not really, don't get me wrong, I like seeing new stuff and learning and curious about the world and cultures and people in general. I can explore in this city that I live in, like there's different cultures here, Granted, we live in America, so there's going to be like like an umbrella of American culture, but there's going to be like, little, but anyways, the point is, it's like we're sacrificing our time. And for some of us, we ask, what am I doing with my time here? How am I spending my time? Is this really what I want to be doing? And some people hit 40 or 50 years old and then they're like, holy cow, like, I'm getting old. What did I do with my life? People do it. People, ask themselves that all the time. It's like midlife crisis. They've been working for so long and doing this thing called the American dream, it's like, yeah, it's like you're like on autopilot in a dream state or something. And then when you wake up, you're like, holy cow, like I'm like 2/3 of weight of the, 2/3 the way through my life. I got 15 or 20 years left, and shit, my knees already need replaced, like I already need, my hip, my knees, or what, like we don't even got time to take care of ourselves half the time. I'm gonna speak for myself. I'm just getting drained. Maybe I'm a little depressed or something like that, or just kind of just thinking about some of this stuff, and I need to get it to the gym, get moving. But yeah, it's like people wake up and metaphorically, and they're like, I mean, there's a term for that. It's midlife crisis. People start wondering, what the hell did they do? And like, yeah, they may have a house, they may have a nice car, maybe not a nice car, maybe just kind of an average car, which is fine with me. Like, shit, I'm just trying to get to work and back. I don't need to impress nobody. Like, this car is 13 years old. So, and then maybe they got like some money set aside. Maybe that's why they go off and go buy that Corvette, or go, splurge somewhere or start traveling, It's like, but what about the people that don't make it that far, or can't go travel for whatever reasons because, it's harder for them to get around or whatnot. And I know it sounds depressing and like a rant or whatnot, and just very pessimistic view of things. I think it is a valid question to ask, though. Is this the only way? Is this like, have we been misled maliciously, or has things just changed and we haven't really been told the new blueprint and being able to adapt? But anyways, fuel's low. I'm gonna have to spend like, $80 or $90 to fill up. Gotta cash in them tickets so I can go get more tickets. Crazy, huh? And life goes around. But anyways, yeah, it's like we're sacrificing our time, and then it's like, I'll share this experience with y'all. Like 10 years ago, I was not in a good headspace. Like, I was very depressed. I was like staying at a family member's house. Like, they had like a little mobile home on their property, and I was living there for a couple months. And for those couple months, I probably spent looking back, what it felt like, probably 80% of the time on that couch there in that little mobile home. I was not good. There's like, I like pretty much got like, me and a good friend I've known for a long time had a falling out. That's not really I had goals to do stuff, and they kind of fell through because I kind of, me and this person kind of were talking about this stuff, and then that never came through because, in a way, their part was misrepresented, which promoted this falling out too as well. So basically, but some of my goals got, and I don't think I want to go do that now to this day, so that's okay. But at the time, this opportunity that I wanted to pursue kind of fell through, or at least in the dynamic that we planned. Lost a friend, or were they really a friend, But anyway, so there's that, and then just trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, because around that time I was going or like right before then or somewhere around that time, I don't remember the time frame now, but I was like going and doing job interviews, and nothing was happening, and that's not really what I wanted to do anyway, especially at that time. And so basically, I wasn't in a good headspace. And then, a few years kind of, I was able to kind of get into like a job, working with cars, aftermarket stuff, like hot rods and stuff like that, sports cars. And then did that for like a year, and my older brother passed away at that time. But the point is a couple years after that situation that I just described on the couch, is I then got out of I got out of a relationship. It was not horrible, but it was definitely a painful breakup. And then my little brother passed away, like a month and a half later. So I was like, breakup, my little brother passed away. And then right before my little brother passed away, I tried to rekindle a relationship with my dad. And he was pretty much, when I was trying to talk to him, he literally, his words was like, "What do you want from me?" It's like, dude, I'm just trying to have a conversation with my dad, and like, cause he didn't want to, like, I don't know, he was just not emotionally equipped, still at the age of 50 years old or whatever, what is this, like 5 years ago? I guess he was like 55 or 6 or something like that. But anyways, the point is I had a lot of loss and a lot of like a big slap in the face. And I remember thinking like, oh my God, like this relationship dynamic with my family, like my dad and stuff, I was like, I can't live like this. I couldn't imagine me being in the same situation, because this kind of cyclical relationship I had with my dad, where we didn't talk and then we talked, because we always just never really saw eye to eye. And like I described a day or two ago in another video, it's gonna get really bumpy here on this road. But what I described was like, my dad would like basically just try like almost use you is what it seemed like, and it pretty much was, because if he didn't need you, you're pretty much like you're kind of irrelevant or didn't really care, so it's just what you could provide for him. But either way, so it went on for that cycle went on from my like 20s to early 30s. And I just remember thinking, going back to this, when I lost my girlfriend and my brother and my, that kind of deal, that I was like thinking, because I'm trying to I'm having this kind of volatile dynamic with my dad, and I just remember thinking to myself, like, I couldn't imagine 5 years from now, like I can't imagine doing this same crap 5 years from now, like, because at the time I was like, I don't know, like my early 30s, mid 30s, I guess, like about 32 or so. But anyways, I remember thinking like, man, I can't imagine doing this at 40. And then what if I was doing it at 45? I'm like, this is like consuming my life. I was like, so that's, I eventually I had to cut that shit out. I had to like, I haven't talked to him in like 3 years. I mean, this is like 6 years ago when all this like kind of was going on. And anyways, so my point, I guess, to all that was realizing like, hey, am I gonna keep living like this 10 years from now, or 5 years from now? Is this really how I want my life to keep going? granted, that's a little bit different where nothing's being added to your life. I mean, here, I guess you could build relationships. I say here, like going to work or something, you build relationships with people, like friends and stuff like that, or make friends possibly. And, try to save some tickets, some money, and use that for whatever. But other than that, it's one of these deals that, what is this really how I want to spend my life? I mean, that's just something to really genuinely ask yourself, just from one human being to another. Because like I was saying, once my grandpa died last year, it kind of refreshed my my memory of loss, and the I don't know if I'd say the rude awakening, or the understanding of permanence or something like that. I don't know how to say it, but I just know that once you're gone, that's it. That is all she wrote. And I was going through a not so fun relationship then, and I just remember thinking to myself, whenever my granddad was in hospice, he was just there for a couple days before he passed, but it was dude, life's too short for this shit. And I just remember getting ready to bail ship on that situation. I was checking out. But either way, I guess what I'm saying is life is short, and this is it. So how do you want to spend the rest of your life? Anyways, so just from one human being to another, it's something to really ponder on, and take to heart. Don't take it serious, but take it to heart. But anyways, I'm gonna get off of here. I'm pulling in, and anyways, see what's going on over here. But anyways, I hope you have a good day, and if you found this entertaining, if you found it helpful, or anything resonated with you, I really, 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 really would appreciate if you subscribed, shared, and liked this. Try to get a message out, just a real message, man. I'm just your average Joe going to work, living the dream, as they say. Anyways, I hope y'all have a good day. Talk to y'all later.